started.
Oh,
For sure.
you can just quiet for a minute. I thought I had gone off or something.
Oh, no, it's totally fine. I think this is okay. Just confirm that you guys can see my screen and then we can get started. Okay, awesome. So welcome guys to the Chaptr orientation program. This is the Chaptr bootcamps to be precise here. And what we do is we offer you guys programs in data science, web and software development, web development in particular here. And the main goal is that by the time you're done with a 35-week sort of sprint, you guys will be vast enough with the sort of technologies needed to launch your career either as a data scientist or a web developer. So just to be very, very clear is for those of you who are doing web development, our program is full stack. So you get to do the front end with JavaScript. The framework that you work with here will be React. For those of you already familiar with that. And then on the other front, we'll have those of you who will be doing data science, where you'll get to work with data science in Python, and you'll do everything from Python programming, data analysis, up until machine learning in data engineering. So it is a heavy program, it is part-time, but at the same time, it does need a lot of commitment and engagement if you're to gain the skills that we teach here in the best way possible. Okay, so probably a nice thing to also introduce is why Chaptr exists in the first place. Most of you or some of you did apply because of how we offer our financing. So at the core of it, our vision at Chaptr is to democratize access to quality technical education. And that's why we are one of the pioneers of what you call income share financing in Kenya and Africa beyond. So I would say that because the main goal for us is also to expand to other countries. So what we do is students who cannot afford the program have a chance to defer up to 80% of their tuition fees through an income share. And for us is to go ahead and reinforce that we want to align our incentives with those of students. We want to make sure that students can join us, and because of the skills they get in our program, they can get employment. And once they get employment, whatever they couldn't pay at the beginning, they can pay it through what we call an income share agreement, something that I'll talk to you guys more about as we go on with the call. So keep that in mind. But once you guys understand your vision, you'll understand why we exist and why we offer these programs each and every single time, and why we'll keep having more students in the long run or even expanding to other African countries. It's because tech education is expensive, but you want to be that organization that allows more people to take it by deferring up to 80% of their tuition, which is a deal you don't usually get anywhere else. Okay, so I'm going to ask Chris and Shadrach to help me through talking about the first aspect of our orientation, which is the program structure. So what goes into our program? And I'll start off with no, I'll let Chris take us through self-paced learning.
Okay. So yeah, our learning is broken down into 5-week sprints, as you might already know. And how this is structured is in the first 4 weeks, you learn with curated content that's available on the LMS. And every week you practice a number of projects based off of the content you learned during those 4 weeks. Then on the 5th week, we have it dedicated to a team and an individual project. So we have a mix of the two, in which you do your individual project, you submit that, but then we also want to include the aspect of collaboration. That's why we have a specific different work stream, which is a group project. Then lastly, after those 5 weeks, you take a break, and that's when you participate in our bonus programs, and that will actually have a section dedicated to that. But that really involves your soft skills development and just getting yourself ready for the next sprint. Then how our content is structured is during the first 4 weeks, you will be learning from Monday to Thursday. And within the LMS, we've structured classes in a way that you have a daily lessons with subtopics, and you also engage in a daily quiz just to ensure that knowledge transfer. And again, once you're done with the first 4 days, Friday to Sunday is dedicated to your weekly practice project, which you have to submit by Sunday for TM review, just so you get results and the areas you need to improve on. And lastly, I'd like to just delve on how the learning takes place. So we have the Chaptr LMS portal for which you will be registered soon enough before tomorrow. And here you can access our lessons, which you have daily classes, and we'll be giving you stand-ups to just show you what you need to cover in that specific day. And then you can also access additional resources, which we will be sending links to, and some of them are also available on the LMS. Lastly, you are able to, now this is an important one, because you are able to access live workshops and their recordings, as well as scheduling appointments. So the live workshops bit, I think it's upcoming, so we'll just take you through that because this is really key. So Cyril, next slide.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much, Chris. Feel free to go ahead, talk about live workshops. But what I can add is I'll probably go through the LMS at the end of this call in brief. For sure.
Okay. So as I've just intimated before, live workshops is really key to us, and so you will be getting 3 live workshops per week, and that's distributed Monday, Tuesday, as well as Thursday from 7 p.m. And here you will be having a 1 hour 30-minute session with a technical mentor who will go through the overview of the topics covered in that week. Okay, in that day, if it's Monday, then you will cover Monday and Tuesday content, and you will also go through the practice projects based off of the weekly content you've already covered. So the technical mentor will just do a summary of that. And in case you have any questions relating to that content, this is the point you get to just get to know more about that and ask a few questions. And if you're not able to get everything, then of course we have our next bit, which is scheduling a workshop specific with a technical mentor. And then something to note is these workshops are run by the technical mentor. So that will be me, Shadrach, and all the others that you will meet soon enough. You'll also have integrated engagement practice in workshops. Here, what this means is you'll be having a few minutes to do breakout sessions where you'll be working on a specific chunk of a project and do peer presentations, just to also equip you with that skill of Scrum and mastering your tech presentations. Lastly, a key rule, which is you'll have to attend at least 80% of the workshops for you to proceed to the next module or to actually graduate that module, because only then can we ascertain that you actually gained the knowledge required for that specific sprint.
For sure. Thank you very much, Chris, for that.
If there's any question,
yes,
we can invite that.
Okay, let's do the questions. Anyone who has a question about live workshops or the self-paced bit? Anyone? Also, in the meantime, if a question comes up to you, right, just you can also type it down on the chat, because I can always open it once in a while, and then we can address that when the time for that comes. Okay, thank you very much for that. Probably the one adjustment that I'd have to say is because of feedback we've gotten from students, the workshops might start from 7:30 rather than 7 p.m. But yeah, it's still around that time frame. It's not going to go away from that time frame. So for some classes, you'll see it starts at 7 p.m. For others, it starts at 7:30 p.m. Once again, if your workshop starts at 7:30, they'll start at 7:30 all across that module. If they start at 7, they'll start at 7 all across that module. It's just based on the availability and the feedback we get from you. because we know some of you are probably commuting from like 6 to 7. So we want to give you that 30-minute window so that you don't miss out on the workshops in any given way. Okay, so now I'll invite Aseta to take us through assignments, end projects, and the final bit of technical mentor appointments. Okay, I don't know if Aseta is still around.
So, okay, yeah, I'm around.
Feel free to go ahead.
Okay, so the day, so as you go through the mess, there will be day quizzes that allow you to at least practice what you've been learning throughout the week. And then at the end of the week, you'll have your weekly projects. And the weekly projects will generally sort of like summarize what you've been learning throughout the week from Monday to Thursday. Then eventually, you'll have daily quizzes throughout the week. And then on Friday, it allows you, we give you like a chance to sort of like rest and maybe go through maybe something you didn't understand initially, which you can also schedule with the technical mentors. I'll be talking about that later on. And then at the end of the week, from Friday to Sunday, you can work on your weekly practice projects at your own pace. And at the end of the week, which is by Sunday 11:59, you should submit your weekly project for technical mentor review. Then, after the 5 weeks on the fifth week of the 5 week sprint, you'll have to go through a capstone project which now encompasses everything you've been learning from the first week to the final week of whichever module it is that you're undertaking. So the capstone projects will be split into two. So you'll have the individual project, which you'll have to submit upon completion. This one you'll do it on your own. Then there will be the group projects, which depending on how you'll be grouped by the technical mentors in charge, you'll do them as such. So both of which need to be submitted or await presentation depending on the formality that you'll go with. Then eventually all projects and assignments need to be completed to proceed to the next module. This is just to avoid a situation where someone doesn't exactly hasn't exactly grasped the concepts and is still being pushed to the next module. So yeah. Then the projects will be submitted on the LMS through the GitHub Classroom. For those who haven't been familiarized with the GitHub Classroom, I think from between now and tomorrow, probably, I think Cyril may talk about it today when he's talking about the LMS. And then maybe tomorrow during the introductory lessons, you'll be explained to what the GitHub Classroom thing entails and how to go about it. Next slide. Yeah. With the technical mentor appointments, so as I told you earlier, if you have an issue, it doesn't it most of the time it will probably be something technical, but it doesn't have to be technical. You could probably have an issue that you need to sort out, which is no problem. You can always schedule some time with a technical mentor and go about it. Usually their sessions are usually about 40 minutes, so this is just to allow you to go like quickly throughout the issue and maybe come up with a solution if possible. Also, the one thing we advocate for is whenever you're scheduling the sessions, make sure that you add onto the link, not the link, onto the booking, what it is you want to discuss with the technical mentor so that they can at least go through it and probably have an idea beforehand, just in case it is like something new or maybe an issue that is specific to you. So probably they could just like go through it and probably see the most likely solution so that whenever you get onto the session, you're able to solve it a bit quicker. Then booking is done on the LMS. So we'll be talking about this, and then through Calendly. So there isn't much to this. It isn't very technical. It's just click, write whatever you are booking the session for, and then just book the session. Then the appointments are optional. It is not a necessity. But if you do have an issue, be sure to schedule with a technical mentor of your choice. Then, yeah, as I said before, it doesn't have to be something technical or restricted to things related to coding. It could be anything that you might have an issue with regards to Chaptr. So you can book it not necessarily with the TM. So you can book it with, okay, for your TM, it could be something technical, but you can also book it with the admin team, the business team, whichever. Provided you seek out whoever is the most resourceful with regards to the issue at hand. So yeah, that's it with technical mentor appointments. Is there any question? Comment, question?
We can also check the chat to see if anyone's asking questions. Albert, do you have a question? Okay. Shadrach, you want to finish up with the community and engagements bit?
Yeah. So the Slack code. So Albert, which question is it you have?
Albert, you can unmute or you can type down the question on chat. Okay. I think that's a quick answer. Yes. What program are you part of? I'm guessing web development. Okay.
Yeah, I think he had implied to having been on the web dev path.
Okay, so what you can do, Albert, is as soon as you join Slack, just reach out to me and we can have a quick call about that so that we understand your background and how that might make you fit for whatever program you want to change to. But yes, you can change track before the program starts, right? We just have to confirm that with you because you wrote notes on your interview based on the program you're going for. However, what you can't do is you can't do two tracks at the same time. You can only do one track at a time. That's one thing you need to know, and you can change it before the program starts. If you guys are lucky, because both web dev and data science do Python programming, you guys can also change before you get to the bits that you cannot alternate. So when you do Python data analysis, that is not done for web dev, or when you do JavaScript, that's not done for data science. So within the Python class, you can still opt to change, but this is subject to you having a chat with the person who interviewed you, which most of the time, just reach out to me on Slack. Cyril Michino is my name on Slack there, and we can always schedule a call to talk about why you want to change and how that program would be more beneficial to you. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, cool. So yeah, with regards to community engagement, we do have our communities, so it doesn't restrict us to necessarily being technical. You can even reach out to your students and probably have groups, have fun, provided it is within the restraints of Chaptr. Don't go too overboard. So we allow a bit of fun, but you know, there's some limits. You are allowed to send memes, by the way, technical memes, no problem on Slack. We also have a WhatsApp community. Yeah, on Slack is probably where you'll see most of our communication. We're not communicating on WhatsApp. For WhatsApp is basically what is it called? Just general things. But for our track communications, our sprint communications, module communications, they will all be on Slack. So make sure to join the Slack group. The link has been sent by Cyril. Then the next thing is always Slack. You're allowed to join and start clubs, whichever. For example, if you and your friend are good at coding, yes, but you feel like you can also work together on an entrepreneurship subject or something to do with agriculture, no problem. You're allowed to form a group with whichever number of your peers that you choose or you find to have a common interest, and maybe work towards it. So no pressure with that. Then you can also meet up with your friends. So no pressure. Just if you find someone interesting and the likes, or you share common things that you like, you can meet up, no problem. Then lastly, the buddy group. This is entirely social. It allows you to communicate with your peers. So what we do is we group you with in groups together with your peers in such a manner that allows you to maybe share across the platforms. For example, you can find you're in the web development as we group you together with someone in say software dev and someone in data science. So you can intermingle and maybe share the experience, maybe even personal knowledge, something that you might find you knew someone else didn't know, and so on and so forth. So for community engagements, just feel free to interact with anyone and everyone. Yeah, that's it.
For sure. Thank you very much, Shadrach, for that. Once again, we want to make this as social and fun as possible for you guys. But at the same time, the reason why we focus on communities is it makes it easier for you to get the communication from us at any given point. One thing I'd love to stress on is all our communications are based on Slack. So what I recommend is either you have Slack as a mobile application, and the reason we use Slack is because even when you get jobs, a lot of jobs are running on Slack. That's where all communications happen. So it's also a learning form to understand how people work in the market. So keep that in mind. And what I will stress for Slack is you will get a daily stand up to understand what lesson you're doing at any given point. If you are to share additional resources and links, it's also going to be on Slack as well. And whenever you need to work on collaboration, either with teams and colleagues as well, you can still create your own Slack group as well, and it still allows you to have group calls and chats. So Slack is a very essential thing. And if you happen to not have the mobile application where you can get notifications, I'd recommend to check it at least every day because you don't want to miss out. You can also reach out to anyone, as Shadrach has said. So the one thing that you really need to join, in fact, by the end of tonight, you should have joined, is the Slack community. And through Slack, you can get info on pretty much anything else that you're going to talk about here today. Okay, so probably we'll let Shadrach and Chris handle any questions that you guys have before we go to the second section of this orientation. Okay, and just to mention it in advance, Emmanuel, kindly stick at the end of the call so that we can have a quick chat as well. Before I forget, let me just mention that right now. So there doesn't seem to be any additional questions. I think Albert as well answered. That's pretty okay. Okay, so now let's get to the second bit of this, and these are the supplementary programs. So, as much as you guys are learning your technical skills, there's two or three other things that are very essential, right? To you being able to transition to the market once you're done with Chaptr. And two of the key ones that we cover internally are career development and tech entrepreneurship for those who are interested in entrepreneurship. One thing we're also exploring is we have a partner who we are trying to see. For those of you who want to get into freelancing, how you can be helped to understand how to start a proper freelance business. That's something that's still in the cards, and we might add it up as well. Guest speakers is also something that happens once in a while on certain subjects, and these are things that you get communication, and it happens that 1 week break we take after every sprint. Once again, remember, our modules run for 5 weeks. First 4 weeks you're learning, fifth week you're doing a capstone project, and then you take a 1 week break. And it's during this 1 week break, when you're not doing so much coding, that we run our supplementary programs. It also helps you to kind of steam off before you go to the next module, because usually modules get more complex as you keep going on with the experience. So you also want to just throw off some steam before you come to the next one. And there's no better way than throw off some steam than through our supplementary program that do not take so much time but are able to enrich you in the best way possible. Okay, I don't know that Jesse's on the call. He'd be best to talk about this. If he's not, I'll go ahead with it. I don't think I can see him, so let me jump straight to it. So the first bit of our supplementary or enrichment programs is what we call career development. At the end of the day, you guys are looking to get a job somewhere. And what these workshops allow us to do is to see how we can enrich you in some of the key topics that, or some of the key skills that you need as you're building up your career. Some of the things that you will go through, think about it as a professional development program where you want to see how we can fine tune your resume and CV. So some workshops will be on resume and CV training. Uh, Other workshops, you'll have a workshop on social media branding with a huge focus on LinkedIn. That's the professional network for a lot of us. Some of you have actually sent me LinkedIn invite. So the question for us is when you're looking for jobs, people do look at your LinkedIn as well. So you want to make sure that's well tuned as well. Or professional communication is a huge thing. We actually had a chat on how you can cold email recruiters, how you can send cold emails, or just how you can properly communicate on email, or even if you go to a networking event, how you can approach it. So these sessions keep repeating every 7 weeks, so that all students get to go through pretty much all the topics we have there. On top of that, we'll be having sessions on tech job interviews, design thinking, and additionally, there will also be occasional industry visits. I would rather Jesse would talk about this because we might be scheduling some industry visits where you also get to meet physically and kind of go and see how people work in the job market. Once again, these are things that are not fully confirmed, but with the industry visits, we'll get back to you. And whenever we have an industry visit scheduled, you will get that sort of info on the Slack channel. But these are just some of the key topics that we cover on career dev modules. At times we even go extra, and you'll see like our last session was on personal finance. For those of you who got admitted early and had a chance to attend that, so it's quite a diverse way to just build you professionally. Okay. What I am more familiar with as an individual are the tech entrepreneurship modules. And here is for those of you who want to be entrepreneurs, right? Not all of you are necessarily looking for a job after, or probably even if you're looking for a job after, you want to get a job, but you're thinking of how you can use your technical skills to start a business in the future. So our tech entrepreneurship module is modeled for those of you who want to start tech startups in the future. It does not have to be right after the bootcamp. And we cover a ton of topics, starting from how you do market research, how to do product design, right? Mostly value propositions, right? How can you articulate the value proposition of your product? Business model canvases, right? Go to market tactics as well. Entrepreneurial finance. How do you raise cash? What are some of the jargon around fundraising as well? Pitching, right? Think about legal and compliance. How do you comply to local laws? How do you set up a legal structure for your business as well? There's a lot of things that go around here. And usually the final one is how can you pitch your startup idea, right? In a simple, concise way that people can have a buy-in into what you're doing as well. So for those of you interested in the business aspect of things, Tech Entrepreneurship module allows you to do that, right? During that enrichment week. And the career dev builds you professionally. And you also have some bonus guest sessions or at times that what we call like we might have a virtual people teaching you to be virtual assistants. I think that's coming up next as well, or interesting sessions such as personal finance. So the scope never ends. For us, it's to make sure that we're doing things that will help you as an individual grow, so that you just don't graduate as a software developer. You graduate more than just a software developer. Okay. Any questions about that section? Any questions? I'll go to chat. Okay, so no questions there. Let's go to the additional details thing. So here are some of the tools that we'll use at Chaptr. So tool number one is our Chaptr learning management system. I'll explain this right now. Let me just open it so that we can go through how it looks like in brief. Cool. Okay. So in Chaptr, we use certain tools, and these tools help make the how we run our bootcamps as convenient as possible to everyone. So the first tool we use is that learning management system. This is whereby you get to access resources, the content, the courses, and we say our bootcamp is structured in three ways. You have the self-paced learning bit, you have the live workshops bit, and then you have the project bit. So the LMS handles a lot of the self-learning bit, and you also get links to this live workshops, booking appointments, and all that. So it's like the central hub for learning in Chaptr is that LMS, and usually improve it from time to time. In fact, tomorrow there's an update going out so that you guys can see an even improved LMS from what you'll be able to see right now as well. So we keep improving it, and you always are open to feedback. But the main goal is this is our central portal for you to do all your learning with Chaptr. The second tool we use a lot is GitHub. In the Chaptr, we have a GitHub organization, which is github.com/chapterbootcamps. So what I'm going to request you guys to do is, as soon as you join Slack, the first thing I want you to do is, if you don't have a GitHub account, open one. Then send me your GitHub username on my Slack channel. So with the GitHub, this is where we post workshop notes. This is where we post like project solutions. This is where we post any additional dev resources. For those of you already developers, you're well familiar with GitHub, so there's nothing new over here. But for those of you who are not familiar with it, by interacting a lot with how we handle our bootcamps through our GitHub organization, it also sets you up, because you'll never work in tech without interacting with a Git solution such as GitHub or GitLab. So it's also a learning chance for you. But more importantly, it's you want to access the notes, you want to access the resources, you want to access descriptions for projects, and pretty much everything else that we have on a technical bit that will be had on GitHub. And that's why as soon as you join Slack, for you to have access to all the private repositories, you will have to send me your GitHub profile so that I can add you as a member to this. So do not forget that. Those will be my next steps. Then the first thing we talked about is the Chaptr Learning Management System. Once again, once I log in, you can access my courses, you can access live workshops, you can explore additional resources. Guess what? Chaptr is interesting. We're gamified. So for every lesson you do, you get points, right? For every sort of project you submit over here, you also get points. So there's points for a lot of stuff. And we want to create like some sort of healthy competition, like where you guys get to learn and have fun. Good example is some of our students who are doing pretty well here. You can see Kristen and Vincent are getting so many points. It means they're interacting a lot with the LMS. So there's always congrats for them for that as well. You want to go through, just think about it. You have a buddy here at Chaptr. Ask yourself, you guys can create a group and be like, yeah, which of us is going to end up on top of the other by the end of this module, right? So it's an interesting way to play around. But more importantly is you want to access your courses, you want to access live workshops, you want to access additional resources, and also we also have a quick link to our Slack channel. Additionally, on this portal over here, you'll have access to a link to book appointment, access to links to give us workshop feedback. If you want to go back to the Chaptr website, there's also a link over here. And for those of you who love the experience so much that you want other friends to come in, you can also refer or invite friends. This just sends an automatic WhatsApp message to them. You get to read it before you send it, and you can also modify it. So that's a nice way. For those of you who want more of your family members or friends who have not had this chance to also join us, it's a chance for you to let us get them interested in Chaptr as well. But the main goal is you want to access your courses over here. Okay, so I might have to log in. I'm probably slightly offline. I will do that last. The third tool that I'm not going to talk about right now so much is what we call GitHub Classroom. So our projects are managed on GitHub Classroom, and they're managed based on the class you guys will be on. So I'll just make this edit over here. There's nothing hard to learn on GitHub Classroom. The thing what you do is on the LMS, you'll always see a project lesson. It's going to tell you that you can submit your project using this link. Or like you can access the project on this link, and that link will take you to GitHub Classroom. By going to GitHub Classroom, what it does is it's going to replicate the entire repository for you so that you have the starter files for a particular project. Once again, these are things you will talk about the moment you guys are on your class, but GitHub Classroom allows you to access projects, the project description, and all starter files using one link. And once you're done with your project, you submit it using our submit project link, which I'll also be adding onto the LMS. That's one of the updates we're adding. So here on quick links, you'll also see a link to say submit project. It's just a quick Google form where you just submit a link to your GitHub repo as soon as you're done with your project. Once again, these are things we'll talk about once you guys start your classes. Okay. The other tool that we've talked a lot about today is the Slack community. Once again, the link is chapterglobal.slack.com, right? We do not use WhatsApp groups, unfortunately. WhatsApp groups are casual, I understand. They're very easy to engage with, but at the same time, there'll be so much clutter on your WhatsApp if you were to do everything on WhatsApp. So the good thing about Slack is it's broken down. You have the all student section where you get updates for students. You have your individual class section. So if you're doing Python programming, you'll be part of the Python class. So you'll get updates for that Python class in particular. So keep that in mind. Slack is able to break down the channels pretty well. It also allows us to attach files, attach videos for YouTube recordings, and pretty much everything. It's the most engaging way for us to learn over here and engage with Chaptr. But more importantly, is this is what people use in the job market. So you're also learning and you're experiencing tools that you'll end up using when you get employed at the end of the day. And the final thing is we'll use it could be Calendly, it could be any other solution to book your appointments. You really don't need to learn through this. All you have to do is whatever link you find on the LMS, click on that link. It will show you the appointment slots, book an appointment, write down what you want to talk about very quickly, and then you'll link up with the TM. So it's going to send you an automatic Google invite. Once again, it might be Calendly, it might be another tool. And the main goal is you really don't need to learn anything. It's just a quick link, go there, fill the quick form, and you have an appointment set. Any questions with regards to the tools we're using? Okay, main tools you need to be versed with: Slack. Join Slack as soon as possible. Second tool you need to be versed with: GitHub. All developers are versed with GitHub, but more importantly is we share a lot of resources, technical resources on GitHub, so keep that in mind. And the third tool that you need not ignore is the Chaptr LMS. That's where you access pretty much all content, so that you can go through the daily lesson, the daily quizzes before you embark onto the live workshop. So keep that in mind. Okay, I will talk. I will answer a bit of your questions if you guys have some. Any questions? Okay, so we have less than 10 minutes to clear this. Okay, so the next steps on financing, I'm going to talk about that last. So what we want to do as additional student benefits, and this ones we are always thinking of improving. One, we are currently approaching companies for corporate projects so that you guys can get to work on real world projects as well. Second thing that's going on in the employer network department is we are trying to strike partnerships so that you guys can also have access to some internship programs. This will be for advanced developers. So as soon as you get to Model 5 plus, we'll also be thinking of internship programs just to get you engaged. They might be 3 to 6 months on select companies, and if they like you, they might hire you afterwards. Once again, these are things that Jesse deals with, and you'll get to see him later on, and we'll talk about more of them. And these are updates that usually sent. So when a corporate project comes in, and you're one of the students who could do this corporate project, we will reach out straight up to you. We also use the gamification points. So the points you get by engaging in the bootcamp, either by doing lessons, by attending workshops, or submitting projects, you get points. So whenever there's a corporate project or internship program, people with the most points will get first preference for that. Okay. Cloud computing credits is something you're also still exploring with Microsoft and AWS, as well as certification exam waivers, also something you're still exploring. We're trying as much as possible to make sure that you don't have to pay for the certification exam. And as soon as we clear this, we'll communicate the results to you. Finally, we have the optional supplementary programs in career dev and tech entrepreneurship that I have talked about. Okay. So do note that the benefits are no guarantee, but what we do is we communicate them whenever they're available. So as soon as there's a corporate project coming in, we communicate it, right? The more points you have and the more you engage with the bootcamp, you're getting more points for your workshop attendance, for your project submissions and how well you do on a project, for how many lessons you're doing on the LMS as well. You'll see the points for the LMS. You are getting points. So as soon as an internship program comes in or a corporate project comes in, right, or even or whatever it is, right, that's a benefit, that we term as a benefit, we'll always make sure that we offer it on merit, and this merit is based on those gamification points that you guys are working. So it's healthy competition, but you also reward the people who are most engaged in the bootcamp. And our goal as a bootcamp is to do all we can to make sure you're employed. At the end of the day, that's the number one way where we get our value back. So there's no guarantee on employment, but you should know that we are doing all we can to make sure that you're upskilled perfectly for whatever career path you're going for, and that we're doing our best to share your profiles with any partner companies so that we are putting you in front of companies as well. So there's some things that you should keep in mind, because it's to our benefit if you get a job as soon as you complete this, or you get something to make sure that you're using your skills, whether you're a freelancer, whether you're an entrepreneur. But a lot of you are more focused on how you can get a junior tech job as soon as you're done with the program. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Any questions? Okay. What I'm going to do very, very quickly is talk about the two program structures. I'm going to clean this up very, very fast as I invite you guys to drop the questions. So let me just talk about this very, very fast. So I will delete this and then we can talk about what we cover. Okay, so let's start with the people who will be doing data science. So if you're doing data science, this is what you'll cover across the modules. I know most of you guys are interested in this. So with data science, it's a Python data science program. So the first sort of module will be based on Python programming. So you'll have 5 weeks of Python programming. After that, we'll get to 5 weeks of general data analysis. When I talk of general data analysis, you'll be learning skills such as SQL, right? For your databases, you'll be learning skills such as Microsoft Excel, and you'll also be learning additional data tools such as Tableau. Okay. So that's the second module. And then the third module we have on the data science track will be our module on Python data analysis. So in Python data analysis, you guys will get to do the libraries that are essential for doing data analysis with Python. So you'll learn about NumPy arrays. You'll learn how to work with tabular data using pandas. You'll also learn how to do data visualization. In visualization, we work with libraries such as matplotlib and Seaborn. Okay, right? I think it's on Python data analysis that you get to work with Tableau as well, which is one of the data tools that I think I'd still categorize as general data analysis. It just happens that because this was sparked, we ended up pushing Tableau as week 4 of the Python data analysis sort of module. Okay, so once you're versed with Python programming and this, you can easily get a job as a data analyst. So you can always start looking for internships on data analysis. There's no big problem there. However, you're still not a data scientist. So the next modules are what will set you up for data science perfectly. So the next module after that will be machine learning. So machine learning is broken down into 2 modules. So we have machine learning 1 and machine learning 2 because it is a heavy subject. So for machine learning 1, what you'll be doing here is we'll be going through the basic math and stats for machine learning. So those are the first things that we'll be doing, and stats for machine learning. And then after that, you'll be covering the supervised learning topics, which will be classification and regression. So keep that in mind. You'll also have a hint of model evaluation. Cool. For machine learning 2, you'll now be doing more of the advanced bit of machine learning. You'll be doing the unsupervised learning bit of machine learning, which is clustering, right? Principal component analysis. You'll also be doing model evaluation. So keep that in mind. So model evaluation is a very essential topic here. And you'll also get to do time series analysis. A lot of the data you'll work with on the world as well is based on time series. So those are some of the topics you'll be doing on machine learning too. Cool. Now, once you're done with module 5, you're good to get a data science job and you can start applying for internships around that. However, at Chaptr, we don't want to leave you there because what's very, very common in the industry right now, people are looking for data scientists who can handle big data. Once again, companies are collecting a lot of data, but it's very hard for them to do machine learning on them unless we have the proper data pipelines around them. In fact, it's more on demand to become a data engineer today than just a data scientist. And that's why we go the extra mile and we have a module for big data engineering. So in this module, we'll go through some key skills for handling big data, key technologies for handling big data. So one of them is Apache Hadoop. We'll be going through Apache Hadoop, right? You'll also be going through Apache Spark. Here we'll be doing Apache Spark with Python, so it's going to be PySpark. And we'll also show you how to work with, to handle data pipelines with Apache Kafka. So this will be a big data heavy module. We also will finish up on SQL skills. We'll finish up on containers such as Docker, as well as operational systems, which will be Linux. So pretty much all the tools needed to handle big data are some of the things we cover on the big data engineering module. And then finally, module 7, this is whereby you get to do cloud computing. So this will be the Microsoft Azure cloud computing. Once again, because you want to do the Microsoft certification once you're done as well, it's very, very essential that you're versed with Microsoft cloud computing. Also, companies want people with cloud knowledge because all these models are being deployed to the cloud. Some of the skills you're learning here is you learn the cloud, but you'll also get to learn model deployment. And here we'll be covering model deployment with Flask as well, as you're learning that sort of Microsoft Azure Cloud Computing. You also start studying for your certification exam as soon as you get to this module. Okay, so that's the program structure for data science. Now let's get to the program structure for web development. Okay, how many minutes do I have? I have 1 minute. Let me see what I can do. Okay, so our web development program is structured into, let's say, two sort of tracks. I will break it down. So we have the front end bit and the back end bit, and I'll be putting that into bracket. So just like data science, you still have to do Python programming for our web dev program. This is what will set you up for backend. Cool. So we'll set that up. So you're learning a scripting language which you'll end up using for backend development at some point. After you do Python programming, you'll now get to web design foundations. And in web design foundations, now this is the front end bit. What you get to do on the web design foundations is you learn skills such as HTML, right? You learn CSS. You also learn how to do UI, UX design in Figma. Very, very essential. A lot of people are teaching you design skills without talking about UI, UX principles. And because WordPress is still a popular tool in the market today, we also have 1 week where we also make sure you are a bit familiar with WordPress, because you'll end up in some companies where WordPress is still one of the core tools they use, and you want to also not go and start learning on the job again. You want to have like some tangible experience with it. A huge portion of the class is focused on HTML and CSS, but you also get to cover Figma and WordPress in the process, so that you're a proper web designer and you can design good web pages with whatever tool that comes your way. After that, we now get to JavaScript programming. And just like Python programming, now this you'll be learning JavaScript programming because this will be helping you more with the front end. So we'll cover all JavaScript basics. We'll cover some advanced concepts of JavaScript. But more importantly, is you'll get to cover the jQuery library and understand how JavaScript is being used for the front end. So keep in mind, this is also a front end track. Web Design Foundations is also a front end track. Okay. Now, after that, now you can get to do React front end development. Cool. Once again, the order could change a bit, but the main goal is you can't do React until you know JavaScript. So with React front-end development, this is that sort of front-end specialization class where you get to improve your front-end skills by learning the React library or React framework, which is quite common in the industry today. So you want to learn React, you want to learn state management, you want to learn how to do static development as well as dynamic development using additional tools such as Gatsby, Next.js, and the likes. So it's a very, very focused, front-end heavy module that expands on your JavaScript knowledge to the next level so that you can start handling material design with whatever library that comes your way. Okay, so we focus it on React, but we're not closed off. You can learn Vue or you can learn Angular on your own time, but we do recommend React. This is the market leader over here, and that's why our program is based on React, and that's why you still get to cover things such as Gatsby and Next.js. Next.js, I think you also will understand a bit about state management. We also do a lot of front-end deployment as we're learning React there. Cool. Now, after that, because you have a Python background, we'll now be doing the sort of backend development with Django. Django is a Python framework, so this will be the Django Python framework is what we'll be using for backend development. Very, very popular in the market today, right? So I'll drop this as a track. And for you to get into the Django backend framework, you definitely need to have Python knowledge. That's why you did Python in the first place. And Django will run for 2 modules. So you'll have Django module 1, and you'll also have Django module 2. And this will be backend heavy. It will do anything on the backend from understanding the Django framework, understanding databases, going through APIs, and also doing backend deployment. So it's a very, very backend heavy class as well that sets you up to doing backend development with Python, and front-end development will be doing with JavaScript. Okay, now after that, you want to learn AWS Cloud Computing because you want to take the AWS Developer Associate Certification on completion. So you'll have to do AWS Cloud Computing here. And on top of doing AWS Cloud Computing, we'll also be introducing you to tools such as Heroku, Netlify, any tool like CDNs as well. You also want to learn about containers. So this will be app deployment heavy class. So you'll be learning a lot about app deployment using a lot of tools. But more importantly, is you want to learn how to work with AWS Cloud regardless, and you also want to start studying for a certification exam. And the final thing is once you graduate from the 35-week modules, we'll also be sharing additional resources for you to start practicing for tech interviews. And this will be resources on data algorithms and data structures. So algorithms and data structures, because a lot of technical interviews will require you to know how to sort of design algorithms or work through this algorithm questions, lead code. And that will not be part of the program, but what we'll do is we'll have focused content on the LMS that will still give you access to for up to 1 year after you graduate, focused on algorithms and data structures. And you can still meet with your colleagues if you want to practice tech interviews. And through our career dev program, you can also run interviews with you. This is something we're designing to help you handle any technical interview. So keep that in mind. That will just be a bonus module once you're done with pretty much everything. It's also going to be a bonus module as you keep studying for a certification exam. Cool. Now, based once I think I'm done with pretty much everything. Slightly late for my next meeting though. But if you do have any questions, feel free to throw off the questions to me right now. We are 5 minutes overboard. We started 10 minutes late, but I think we still made it. So if you do have any questions, let me know. But I hope everything was very, very clear. Okay. So the final thing I will say now are the next steps for you. So the next steps that I want you guys to take now are one, the first thing you need to do tonight before you sleep, join Slack. There's no two ways about it. Join Slack. And once you join Slack, I'll add you to your class group. So join Slack. If you've not joined Slack yet, I am going to share this link again. There's this link I've been sharing on the chat time and again. Please use that link to join Slack as soon as possible. So that's the next step number one. I'll also be sharing an email with these links. So join our Slack channel. The second thing is open a GitHub account. Open a GitHub account. If you don't have a GitHub account, open a GitHub account. If you already have a GitHub account, do not open a GitHub account. Just use whichever GitHub account you already have. So the first thing is you want to join our Slack channel. This is how you get to access all our information. The link is on the chat. The second thing is you want to open a GitHub account. And I'll also drop the link over here. So to open a GitHub account, all you have to do is go to https github.com. If you also search GitHub on Google, it will be the first thing. Open a GitHub account. We'll be using this a lot. We also use Git Classroom, so keep that in mind. And then the final thing that I want you to do once you join our Slack channel and you have a GitHub account is send me your GitHub username on Slack. So on Slack, you'll find me. My name is Cyril Michino on Slack. Just search for me on one of the users and you can DM me your GitHub username. So by you DMing me your GitHub username, these are the two things that you'll fulfill. One, I'll know that you have a GitHub account. And two, I'll know that you've already joined the Slack channel. And three, I'll be able to add you to our GitHub organization so that you can start accessing resources. And when you join Slack, I'll be able to add you to your class group so that from tomorrow you can start accessing the daily stand-ups. And on Slack, I'll also share a link to join the LMS. So here, you'll be added to your class group. Once you're added to your class group, you will get an invite link to the LMS. I'm also sending an invite with you guys as well. I'm also sending an email with this invite links as well. And the final thing is once you're on Slack as well, you can DM any student, technical mentor, or admin, right? Or admin guy. So keep that in mind. Once you're on Slack, you can DM any student, any technical mentor or admin. You'll have access to pretty much groups. We'll add you to your class group first of all. Second thing, if you don't have a GitHub account, you open a GitHub account. This allows you to access our GitHub organization. Our GitHub organization. And thing number 2 allows you to work with GitHub Classroom for projects, and this is where you'll be pushing your projects. And also note that the first class we go through will be a class on GitHub and the skills you need to handle GitHub, because this is a tool you cannot avoid as a developer. Whether you're working in a company, whether you're doing development by yourself, you really need to understand Git. That whole Git aspect is very, very essential, regardless of so long as you're a dev. So keep that in mind. But for us, GitHub allows you to access resources on our GitHub organization. It also allows you to work with Git Classroom, which is how we'll be posting our project for submission. And here is where also you'll be working on your projects from as well. And so once you join Slack and you open a GitHub account, send me your GitHub username on Slack. And by you sending me that, I can be able to check that you have a GitHub account and that you've already joined the Slack channel. Thank you very much, guys. I'm not going to make this any longer. Let's end it right now. Thank you very much for giving us your time. And I'm looking forward to starting off engaging with you guys and you guys engaging with TMs and the Chaptr experience from tomorrow. Classes will be at 7 p.m. or at 7:30 based on your class. You will get invites to your classes tonight. No, not tonight. I think tomorrow morning. But keep that in mind. You might get it tonight or tomorrow morning, just based on how much time we have to send it out to everyone. But classes do start tomorrow from around 7 p.m. or 7:30. Your invite will have the specific time for your class. Thank you very much, guys. Let me handle 1 or 2 final questions. How do you find me on Slack? When you go on Slack, it's very easy. You just need to search Cyril Michino and you can always DM me very, very fast. So when you open a new chat on Slack, you can always just look for my name. My name is Cyril Michino. This also allows you to start using Slack. Yeah, so just look for Cyril Michino as you're starting to open a chat, and you'll see me come up immediately, and then you can send me all that stuff. What I can do is I can just show you how it works. I'll stop presenting, and then I'm going to just present my entire screen, the screen 1. Okay, so here I'm on my Slack channel, if you guys can see me. Can you guys see me on Slack? So my Slack is a bit heavy, so just don't mind me. So what you're going to do here is on Slack here, you'll get access to all the channels you're part of. So for instance, some of you will be part of the Python programming class. Some of you will be part of the machine learning class. It depends. Whichever class you're part of, you'll get access to that particular class, right? You'll also be part of the all students channel. So we have the all students channel. If you have channels that you want to access more frequently, you can just start them. You can start a channel by just right-clicking on it, right, and making it a starred channel. Okay, I don't know how to make a channel starred. Probably I'll send you guys a tutorial in Slack. But how to use Slack very, very quickly. As soon as you're on Slack, I will add you to your group, so you'll start seeing your groups on this side. It's not going to be as bulky as mine. Mine is bulky because I'm everywhere, but yours will be less bulky, so don't be scared. It's not going to be this much. So what you can do is, when you click on this icon, new message, and then when you think of a new message, you can look for my name, Cyril Michino, and you'll already see it. And when you click on that, you can start messaging me. And it's as simple as that. You can message me there, and you can message me your GitHub link, and I'll know that you've joined Slack. In fact, I do get a notice as soon as you join Slack, so I will know that. But send me your GitHub link so that I know, so that I can add you to the organization as soon as possible. Thank you very much, guys. I'm not going to make this any longer. Anyone else with an additional question? So, guys, have a nice time. Any additional questions, join Slack and let me have your questions on the Slack channel. Royford, Ndwati, Dennis, Albert, you guys have questions?